Morgan here and Jack Bennett.
All the lights are currently lit here on track, and it is go, go, go!
Contact between the Mercedes teammates.
Denoso with a crafty manoeuvre up the inside. Masterclass from the Chilean.
Crucial championship points on offer here.
Do not count out Danny Berezne.
Longe has done the job. This is for the win between these two.
Freddie Rasmussen wins the United States Grand Prix.
Alfie Butcher wins for the first time ever. Lucas Blakely takes the championship. It's Barry Foreman.
Jarno Opmeer is your champion.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to PSGL for PCF4 for Rome 4 here at China. Sorry about the technical difficulties we had at the start. Unfortunately, my PC decided to have a blue screen, but hopefully everything will run smoothly. Normally, you won't see me in the commentary box. I'm normally sat as a reserve doing nothing, but I'm here tonight alongside Max, who is normally here, and I believe, Max, you wasn't here last week, were you, either?
Again, pleasure to be joined by you here, Nathan, for the first time this season, and yeah, hopefully we should have a good race this evening.
Certainly, and on the go, I'm trying to adjust the audio, so hopefully, guys, it's not too loud or too quiet. Do let us know if the audio is messing up, but I believe we're already in the game, in the session, so I'm going to load in quickly and see what's happening on track. Have they actually started yet?
No, we're just on the countdown in the lobby, so
Oh,
another
that's
20 seconds till we start loading in.
That's perfect. So while we do that, we'll have a quick look at the calendar, of course, for this season. A very nice calendar indeed here for this season, season 39. Of course, we're here tonight at China. Head off to Austria next time out, which will be another really fun track as we then hit over our halfway point of the season. We have a week's break for Formula 1 esports, and then, of course, we return again for Britain. Then we have Singapore, Mexico, and Abu Dhabi to round it off. So a very nice season here. Very nice calendar. What track would you say you're looking forward to most, Max, in these remaining 5 races?
I am looking forward to next week. I really do like a race around Austria, especially on this game. Of course, looking forward to my home track of Silverstone. Always delivers, never fails to give you a good Grand Prix. And then out of the remaining ones, I'm going to have to say Singapore. It's not one you see very often. I know it's the next 3 in a row, but Singapore you don't see often. It's a circuit that is very hit or miss when it comes to F1 calendars and also on the games themselves. It could be a very spread out kind of race. So yeah, excited to see how Singapore and how the drivers tackle that, because I don't think on this game we've had Singapore in PSGL. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the drivers adapt to that challenge.
Yeah, certainly. I don't think we've had it on this game. I know we had it in 23 because I remember commentating that race in F2. It was a really, really good one. So great to have Singapore back on the calendar. So I've updated my OBS and I've got ourselves some new graphics on the line. Thank you to Sappy for sorting it all out. So we've got our little graphic here with the qualifying on the right and then our cameras on the left. Something a bit different. We'll swap it over to the main screen in a second. But of course we've got quite a few cars going out on track nice and early to get their first laps in. And of course we are running short qualifying. And I've got to say it's looking rather dull, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. The skies are very grey, and hang on, as my game... No, my game just has it. I thought my game crashed for a second there. But yeah, looking very grey in the skies. Everybody has come out quite early on in this session, wanting to get their lap times on the board. So does that mean a threat of rain on the cards here this evening for our qualifying session? Of course, in the race in F3, they did have some rain, so we'll see if the drivers here at F4 do have to face the same weather conditions, but this time over 1 lap. So the first driver to be setting the first qualifying lap of the session is Igor PSGL in the Haas. Let's see what he's going to be able to do. The 2 Haas drivers have been very strong so far this season in qualifying, especially with Igor's teammate, who's not actually here this evening at the minute, Aaron Ramirez, taking the first 3 pole positions of the season. So down into turn 1, this then leads you into turn 2, down to 3rd gear. They just want to roll the car through. It's an ever so long wait to then just get back on the power, as you know. Head through turn 3, back on the power nicely. A little bit of a slide from the rear, but still keeps the car running smoothly as we head up into turn 6. 23.5 is the target for everybody else in the first sector. Another little slide out of the hairpin of turn 6. We're now heading through turn 7, flat out through here. Then as you head into turn 8, you want to just try and have a little lift, then get back on the power ever so gently to then rotate the car into turns 9 and 10. It's very tricky to get the traction down here. Make sure you don't run too wide as well to pick up an invalidation as you then head up into turns 11 and 12, down to 3rd gear. You then want to just slowly, once again, just ever so gently press on that throttle pedal out of turn 12 and 13 as you then make the run down the long back straight. Of course, you get DRS halfway down this back straight. It'll be DRS open from now for Igor. So he's heading down into the hairpin, the penultimate corner on the circuit. And we'll see what he's going to be able to do. Braking at 100 meters, down to 3rd gear. Clip that inside apex curve. Run the car out wide. You don't want to follow that curve, but then stick to that left-hand side before you switch it back over to the right for the final corner. 50 meters, down to 5th gear. Lovely stuff from Igor to keep it within track limits across the line. 29.662 is the benchmark to beat. Lucas Basner comes just a 10th shy.
Indeed, the times are flying through here as we do have Basler coming into 2nd place. Oliver not there, going into 3rd in the Aston Martin. We have Moldovan there into the top 5 as his teammate jumps up into the top 3 there. Alessandro Finner. Stephen Vasso goes to the top there with the 129.62 for a nice start to the session here for the Red Bull driver as Louis Welch jumps up into the top 3 in the Alpine, and then Carlos Galindo up into P5 there with a 0.811. What about JSD? Jumps into the top 10 there in P9 as Balint Elekashner goes to the top of the timings with a 129.472. A brilliant lap there by the Kick Sauber car as Tom 97 will be heading back into the pits and not completing that lap, along with Tim Tornemo, who also didn't complete a lap. But our top 15 all got a lap on the board.
Yeah, nicely done from everybody but Tim and Tom. And yeah, surprisingly around Singapore, we've had the first 15 do their first attempt. Of course, this circuit can be very easy to invalidate, especially at corners like the final corner. Very easy, just run that little bit too far wide, pick up that invalidation, and that then just ruins your momentum in the session. But they got crucial lap times on the board. The pressure is now somewhat off their shoulders for Balint Alekish, up at the top of the times, a near 1.5 tenth advantage over Stephen Vasso. Very nice to have at this stage of qualifying, of course, for Balint. His recent form in the championship, if I quickly find him now, he's got an 8th in Bahrain, a 4th in Brazil, and then a 9th place in Belgium. So he's scored points in every round this season. He's looking to try and make it a first podium at the very least here in China. But now we're going to see Tim Tornemo come out for his 2nd attempt in this session. Let's see what Scuderia Ferrari is going to be able to do around here in Shanghai.
Indeed, of course, last week I was engineering Tim actually, and this time I'm commentating him, so I promise I won't be biased, guys. But no, interesting to see what Tim can do around this track. I don't really have a clue about what times are that competitive round here, to be fair, but all I know is that lap there from Balint is very, very good indeed. Of course, everybody else just needing to find a little bit more time, and I've noticed as well in the likes of F4, F5 and below, there seems to be quite a big gap in qualifying, but the race, it gets a lot closer, whereas in F2 and F3, the gaps in quali tend to be a lot closer anyway. So I think it's just a normal thing in the lower tiers to see that qualifying gap be a little bit more expanded than it would be in some of the higher tiers. But we'll see what Tim can do here, just heading through into the final corner, back on the power, heading up towards turn number 1, and let's see what the Ferrari can do, of course, keeping it all the way to the right-hand side to avoid the bumps on that back straight as you head into turn 1, of course, shifting down the gears slowly into 4th, into 3rd as you head your way in towards turn 2, and then back to left at turn 3. Decent so far here by Timothy gets ready to exit Sector 1, and we'll see what that first sector will be looking like here for the Ferraris. He heads his way down to the braking zone. A 23.631, a decent first sector here for Tim, but of course still has 2 sectors to go on this lap as he heads his way through into the long left-hander here. We'll see what he can do for the remainder of the lap, but needs to get a lap on the board now, otherwise he's certainly going to be running it tight.
Yeah, he certainly will. Tim needing to get a lap time on the board, as I said earlier, just to remove that pressure from his shoulders, because of course if you leave it to the last lap, the pressure is very much immense and more chances of overdriving, losing key lap time. And Tim, so far, so good. So as he now exits down onto the long back straight, we're going to see what he's going to be able to do on this lap within a few corners time. So as the Ferrari prances its way down the back straight, DRS now open for Tim. It's so agonisingly long, and you just somewhat lose focus as you're just about to hit the brakes at 100 metres, get the car down to third gear. A little bit wide from that inside curb than he probably would have hoped, but nice on the exit to then get the run up into the final corner. Will he be able to keep it valid? Yes, he will. A little bit hesitant through there than we've seen others for Tanimo. Where's he going to go? It's only 13th fast. It's a 30.050. Scuderia Ferrari driver not going to be too happy with that lap, but a minimal improvement can promote him up into that top 10. Needs to find about a 10th, and he's up into those top 10 spots and potentially up into the top 8. So still very close in this mid-pack. Finding only a 10th can certainly improve you 3 or 4 spots.
It certainly can, just looking at that gap there between Damien Curiel and Jensen Rosen in P11. That is, what, a 10th between 5 cars, so very close here at the moment as Tom 97 jumps up into P15 there with a 130.124. Many more cars on a lap at the moment. Just following here, Louis Welch heading through towards turns 9 and 10. Of course, winning last time out, I believe, if I'm correct, or at least took a win at some point this season, as he's up by over a 10th and a half in that first and second sector. So looking decent here is Louis Welch in the Alpine. Of course, rumoured to be the quickest car on this game, so we'll see if that gives him any advantage here. But of course, I don't believe any of this unequal nonsense. A lot of the drivers seem to, and many of them also agree with me. But we'll see what Louis can do here. Just heading down that long back straight in towards the hairpin corner at turn number 15. Of course, getting onto the brakes nice and early, get the cars turned in, and then of course back on the power straight away as you head your way into the final corner. A very horrible corner here around this circuit. Easy to cut it too much to the inside and very easy to run one on the exit. To the line for Louis Welch and goes to the top there as Tom Roberts jumps up into P2. And then we can see that I think it was Lucas Baisner going back up into P4 with a .586. But the lap times are getting closer here. The top 2 separated by just shy of a 10th of a second.
Yeah, nicely done by both Louis and Tom there to get into the 29.4s and 29.3 respectively. Stephen Vasso now up into 4th place. Alessandro Finn to the line. He now goes into the top 5 of 29.5. Who else is going to be close to coming to the line? It's one of the Aston Martins, Oliver Knott, who dives into the pit lane. Then you have, I think that's Tom 97 diving into the pits. Yes, it is. So next will be I wanted to say it is going to be Damien Curiel up to the line. Yes, he's up by a 10th and a half in the middle sector. Only finds a 10th overall in the lap. Lost half a 10th in that middle final part of the lap. Jensen Rowson up into 8th place. But even with this qualifying session, I mean, some drivers might be able to perform better. I mean, Alessandro Finn, he's not one for qualifying. He's doing quite well here. But Nathan, China's such a unique circuit with how some of the corners are that we could see some drivers that have done so well in the season so far maybe just not perform at their greatest here in China, because it's just you need a certain driving style to just manage, especially these longer corners around this circuit, that for others it might just not pay off in their favour.
Yeah, certainly. It is a really difficult track. This is the Shanghai International Circuit, not one that many people like either, just because of how this driving style, how the game works, doesn't really fit well with this circuit, and it definitely does get on people's nerves, as we do have Bogdan Moldovan heading up to the line and going up into P12 at 129.876. But yes, certainly a challenge here for the drivers, as many of them are going back out again for another outlap. Tim Torneo first, and then we have Top 97 and Sasha Nebate on track as well, all going to be heading out of that first set to getting ready to set another lap in this session, and of course seeing what they can do. Certainly not ideal here, as we have 4 cars in the 130s, and we do have another car, of course, Louis Welch in the 0.3s, 29.3, just I should say, 7/10 up the road. So certainly, I think at a minimum here, everybody needs to be in the 29s, and some drivers just not finding that raw pace at the moment. But I suppose as well, with the track limits being as such, you know, so tight around here, sometimes drivers might be a little bit hesitant to get on that throttle. You know, a little bit of I know in different sports like dart, you have dartitis where you're too hesitant to throw the dart, and these drivers sometimes are a bit too hesitant to get on the throttle early.
Yeah, they certainly are. That's something that really does plague lap time, and could be for the likes of Sasha Neeb and Tom 97. It's just that they're not really being able to be confident enough to go onto that throttle pedal early, get the car rotated in, and even just overall with their braking as well, they might just be a little bit too hesitant, so they brake a little bit earlier, they're not as confident, so they then overall bleed lap time everywhere they go, and it really does affect the driver and overall their performance. So we could see the likes of Tom 97. I know he does struggle in his qualifying, he has done so far this season. So for Tom, we expect to see him in the race. He did make his way up to 3rd in Bahrain, and that was a really good drive from the back of the grid from him. But yeah, certainly drivers, in qualifying it is very much drivers just hesitating to get on the power, and that is the difference between pole position and say a back of the field start, or even in the mid-pack with everybody else, is just being too hesitant, too cautious getting on that power, especially around a circuit like China where you just need to be as aggressive as possible to get back on that loud pedal. But we now see Louis Welch going for a lap in the Alpine. Our current provisional pole man, just under a 1/10 of a second clear of Tom Roberts. So let's see what the Alpine is going to be able to do as he makes his way out the final quarter to cross the start-finish line, keep it to that right-hand side. Will he be able to extend that gap at the top?
Well, we'll see what he can do. I'm just on board here with Tim Tornemo, heading into the final corner here in the Ferrari, and Bales back into the pits to go again, and nearly hits the barriers on the entrance to the pit lane. Certainly would not have been ideal to do that, of course, after taking a podium last time out in Spa, and now sits in P15, just shy of 7/10 off of that pole position time, as we do have, of course, Tom 97 here in the Alpine alongside Louis Welch. He's currently in P16. Looking to find an improvement as he has a big spin, a big lock up on the rears there, heading into the hairpin, and certainly would have lost time. The question is it enough time for him to have to bail out? It certainly is, and so does Sasha Neeb. And I think part of it could be that those three didn't find much of an improvement, but also they might just not want to put a lap on the board now. They want to get back in and go at the end like everybody else has. I believe that was Oliver Knott jumping up into P9 there with a 129.683, around 3/10 off that pole position, so sits just inside that top 10. Certainly we'll be looking for a good result tonight, but let's see, what can Louis Welch do? Currently a little bit down on his time in that second sector.
Yeah, we'll see what he's going to be able to do as he now heads into the hairpin. We're going to see if he's going to be able to find that time he has lost, just maybe extend that gap by even just a few thousandths of a second. But no, darts into the pit lane, obviously not improving for Louis Welch. That is not what he would have wanted. So we now see who is next on a lap time coming up to the line. Igor Brzezinski is going to be the next one in the Haas. Where can he go from 8th place? Can he move himself any further up? Across the line he goes, up to 3rd place, 2nd row of the grid, and that could be his only run of the session, the final run of the session, should I say, sorry, for Igor. So at best, it's going to be 3rd place, only just shy of Tom Roberts, who's currently on that provisional front row. And we'll see who else can now rival that time. Oliver Knott is actually to come. Yes, he has. So now we're just looking at drivers getting ready for their final runs, and the first driver to do so looks like it's going to be the Williams of Alessandro Finn heading down the back straight.
Certainly will be. We'll see what Alessandro can do on this next lap. Of course, he could be going now, or he might look to go again and do a double out lap. We'll see what the plan is for Alessandro. Of course, his teammate Bogdan Moldovan, a driver I know very well, of course, was here back in season 30 in PCF4 when I made my country debut, and actually won the championship last year, but since season 30 hasn't won one since, and hopefully it could be this season, but I don't think it will be. I'm not sure where he's in the standings, but I don't think he's at anywhere near the top at the moment. But of course we'll see what his teammate can do. Alessandro Finn just heading into the first couple corners now. seeing what he can achieve on this final lap, just heading his way through that first set to decent so far. Of course, only around a 2/10 off of that pole time, as Oliver Knott is done and dusted in this session, retires in the pits, so won't start any higher than P9, and certainly could lose a couple of positions here. So maybe there, Max, it was a bit too early for Oliver to take his final run.
Yeah, it certainly was. If you want to go out that early, you really need to just fuel up the car just with enough for about 2 laps in case you do make that original mistake. And excuse me, that really just unravelled Oliver Knott, and now everybody else is going to get that track evolution. And just really going to bump him down the order. Alessandro Finn, as he's coming up, he's just gone past the middle sector split. Sorry, did not see what he had on the board, but as he now exits out of the long right-hand down that back straight, he's going to have a little bit of traffic in the way. It's going to be a V-carb of Lucas Basner, I think. Yes, it is. So we'll see what Alessandro Finn's going to be able to do. Luckily, not getting too close to the back of that RB as he now hits the brakes down that 100 metres over that inside apex curb. Takes a lot more curb than we've seen some other drivers take so far in this qualifying session. But for Alessandro, this is his final lap of qualifying. Will it be good enough to snatch pole position away from Louis Welch across the line? No, just misses out. Goes on to that provisional second row of the first row of the grid, up into second place. Damien Curiel, he's down in the middle sector by 100th of a second. He now throws it into that final corner, a little bit hesitant from the Aston Martin. Where can he go as he crosses the line? Up to 9th, just in front of his teammate. Now we have Bogdan Moldovan. He's gone too far wide at the final corner. Unfortunately, invalidates his lap. Bainant Achilles now heading up into the final corner. The Kick Sauber, what's he going to be able to do? Is he now crosses the line? Currently 5th, stays 5th. Doesn't improve on that lap time. You've got the Papaya McLaren of JSC now heading up to the line. Of course, the Roy now from round 1. He moves up into 6th. Stephen Vasso just behind him. He's up by 600ths of a second. This could be a big improvement. Maybe up to the front row of the grid. Yes, it is to the front row of the grid. And just misses out on pole position from Louis Welch there. But crucially, the Alpine, even though Tom Roberts is coming up to the line now, Louis up by an extra 10th in the middle sector.
He certainly is, as we do see Tom Roberts as well heading to the line. Goes on to provisional pole with a brilliant lap there by the Ferrari. As I'm on board here with Louis Welch heading through into the hairpin now, looking to try and take that pole position away from Tom Roberts as we head our way into the final corner there, as I think that was Galindo going up into P7. And Louis Welch has gone 1. He's invalidated, so he can't take that pole position away. What can Lucas Basner do? Heading to the line, stays in P9, and that is qualifying done. It's Tom Roberts on pole with Louis Welch in second place, and then Stephen Vasso rounding out the top 3. And those 3 cars only separated by just less than 30 thousandths of a second.
Wow, what an end to qualifying that was. Louis said earlier, if he bottles this, he swears to God. And unfortunately for the Alpine driver, he hasn't got that pole position, but still, he's got the race to go, and he can certainly take it back away from Tom Roberts, who snatches pole position at the death, but only just. So, for the Scuderia Ferrari man, how has his form actually been in the championship? Tom Roberts, he's got a 5th place in Bahrain, a 10th place in Brazil, and did not finish last time out in Belgium. So looking to make amends. Brilliant way to bounce back from not being able to score in Belgium. Sorry, he's got a pole here in China. That's an extra point to his tally. And due to Aaron Minguez not being here for the first time this season, we have a second pole sitter, and it's come here in round 4, being Tom Roberts, who takes pole position 17 thousandths in front of Louis Welch. Stephen Vasso just behind in 3rd, and Alessandro Finn in 4th. Igor Pashecki in 5th, Bainant Lekis in 6th, Carlos Gallardo in 7th, Esteen 8th, Basner 9th, and Damien Curiel rounds out your top 10. Jensen Rowson then in 11th, Oliver Knott 12th, Tim Tornimo 13th, Tom 97, 14th, 15th is Moldovan, 16th is Patrick Datmeyer, and rounding out your field is Sasha Neeb. He starts from 17th. But a very strong qualifying session from both Tom Roberts and Louis Welch, but still very close at the top of the times here, Nathan. Going to be a very interesting race coming up.
It certainly will be. Of course, our top 10 there are only separated by just over 2.5 tenths of a second, so very competitive here at the start of, the end of qualifying, going into towards the start of the race. Of course, we do have our mandatory restart, so we can turn the Ghost in back off because, of course, we have ghosting gone in quali because of the very questionable slipstreaming that can occur on this game. Believe me, I've been in leagues that still have ghosting off in quali, and it rather does help when you have a teammate. Let's just put it that way. So here we are, of course. We're going to wait for everybody to ready up. We'll go into the session, retire, and then start again, unless we are migrating hosts. So we'll just be having a brand new session, it seems. But, of course, before we, of course, get into towards the race, we're going to have a quick word from our sponsors over at GT Omega. And welcome back, everybody, here for PCF4. Qualifying has just concluded, and now we're getting ready to head in towards our race. Before we do so, we're going to have a quick look at the standings here. Heading out of round 3 and into round 4, of course, it is Louis Welch that leads the way by 3 points to Isaac Leet, who I don't believe is here tonight. So he's certainly missing out on a big opportunity to try and get closer to that lead, or if not, take it away from Welch. And then JSD, after taking a victory in round 1 at Bahrain, he sits in 3rd. And of course, Damien Curiel in P4 on 18 points, along with Florian Fanzelta in P5 on 16 points, taking a win last time out in Belgium. But of course, heading into this race here, Max, it's quite interesting to see that no one has had more than 1 podium, so we've had 9 podium sitters in 3 races. Certainly helps with that competitiveness, doesn't it?
It certainly does, and it just shows why the standings are so close at this stage of the season. I mean, 8 points separate that top 5. So, yeah, it's interesting to see how just everyone is so competitive when it comes to the races. I mean, you have drivers like JSD who won in Bahrain, come from nowhere really in qualifying. SD was 13th where he qualified in Bahrain, ended up winning the Grand Prix, and Tom Martin 97 I think was down in, I think it was either 18th or 19th in qualifying, went all the way to 3rd. And then we've had the similar sort of stories in the likes of Brazil as well, where we saw the likes of Damien Curiel have a bit of a poor qualifying, they can get a good podium finish. And yeah, even for the likes of pole sitters like Aaron Ramirez, it just shows qualifying's not everything, because he's taken 3 pole positions, not even finished in the top 5 once. So yeah, the drivers really do focus on their race prep. I've noticed that a lot on this game. There's a lot more drivers that are weaker in qualifying, stronger in the Grand Prix, and that's what pays dividends when it comes to their title charge. Yep,
certainly. And I think one thing that I've noticed, at least over in F2, F3 and F4 in the past, is that you always have those drivers that perform well in quality. Brilliance in qualifying, their 1 lap pace is immense, but then it comes to that race, and maybe it's something to do with their strategy or their pace, getting into incidents, you know, and it just falls apart and they can never get those good results. But when you have drivers that can do a good quali, get a good race, they're certainly a force to be reckoned with, because there's not many people that are good at both. Most drivers are either good in the race, bad in quali, or good in quali, bad in the race. So if you're good at both, certainly does make it difficult to kind of you know, keep up with the championship charge. And Louis Welch, we've seen so far, been decent in quali and also decent in the race. So certainly not one of those that has kind of got lucky and is in at first now and he'll drop down. I'm sure Louis will be, you know, on this championship charge for the remainder of the season as well. Of course, it being a shorter season too, that means you need to be getting those big points in rather early. But we'll have a look at the track on our screens as we just move our way over, and for some reason Max's screen has gone black. So while you read through the track map, Max, I'll try and get your camera back.
Oh, I think it's back, and hang on, where have my notes gone? I can't find my notes. You have to take over the track map actually here, Nathan, because my notebook has just randomly decided to disappear. It was right next to me.
Oh dear me. Right, I'll get your camera on and then we'll go again. Of course, you can see the track on your screen, guys. course, a very, very nice track. 16 turns, 3.3 miles, 5.4 kilometres. This circuit, of course, having 2 DRS zones as well, down towards turn 1 and down towards the hairpin at turn number 15. I always get that corner wrong. I always say turn 16 and not turn 15. I don't know why. I do always get it wrong. And I still can't get your camera to work here, Max. I'm not sure what Discord, well, not Discord, what Video Ninja's trying to do, but it's not happy with me today.
Let me try and just refresh it quickly, see if that will work. I have just refreshed it. I might send you a new link as well, just to see if it will do the trick. But we love technology, people. Of course, Nathan's PC dying earlier on, and now my camera not working. So I just sent you a new link, Nathan, and hopefully it works this time around.
No, it hasn't, unfortunately, and it's on the same link. So we'll have to go without your camera for today, unfortunately, unless it just decides to fix itself, which I'm sure it probably will do. I know I know cameras tend to do that in the past. It's rather annoying indeed. But we'll move ourselves back over to the camera screen. Of course, before we head our way in, it's going to be a really good race here around China. And before we head in, Max, any predictions from yourself?
Ooh, predictions. I'm going to go for Louis Welch to win this one. I feel like he can perform well. I mean, he's had some good races. He should have scored points in every single Grand Prix, but unfortunately got caught in an incident at Bahrain, which meant he dropped down the order and wasn't really able to recover from it. So I'm going to go for a Louis Welch win, a Alessandro Finn second, and then the Tom Roberts in third. I feel like Tom was good over the one lap, but I just think starting on pole, it's a little bit of a disadvantage. And with the fact everybody can somewhat follow him for the Grand Prix, I reckon he might just drop down at the end of the race.
Indeed, we'll have to see what goes on. Yeah, your camera's still being annoying, so we'll leave it for now. Of course, we've got nearly everybody in. I think we've just got to wait for 2 more drivers to get their way into the session, which will be one of the Mercedes, if they're here, unless they're not. I can't remember how many people we had at the start of the qualifying.
15, I think.
Oh no, it was 17, so everybody's in. And Jensen says, middle carried, had an ass first and last. Well, there we go. That's Jensen's reason for not being in the top 5. And also had a PB as well because of his middle sector. So, interesting. There's got to hope that he can keep it up in the race though, as we certainly haven't got too long to go here until we get our way into the race. But in terms of races and who's won, we've of course had 3 different winners here this season, being JSD, and I can't remember who else. Louis Welch, and who's the other one? Who won round 3?
It's Florian Van Zelter.
Ah, that's it, yes, Van Zelter. So of course they've all had a win. So we'll see if we can get a 4th winner in 4 races.
Be interesting to see, but Louis is now in prime position to be our first multiple race winner of the season. And if he does, he must have a thing for the even numbers, because of course got his first win in round 2 in Brazil, and we'll get one here at round 4 in China. If he does win that, then look out for him at round 6 in Silverstone, because that's probably where I'd get his next win if he wins here tonight. But yeah, Louis looking to become the first double winner, and is really the only driver in contention for it. Of course, Florian's not here this evening, and JSD, yes, we saw him come from the back at Bahrain, but China, a little bit of a different challenge compared to Bahrain, so we'll see if Jay can do the exact same as he did there in the Middle East, or just, unfortunately, not be able to climb his way up the order. But I think we are about to go any second.
One of our drivers has left. I'm not sure who, but someone unfortunately left the session.
That game's dropped, so he restarted his game.
Oh,
so.
okay. Well, there we go. What a start we've got here. Issues already. It's definitely not worrying at all, is it?
I think it's a you curse, Nathan, because
is
we've not actually had any technical difficulties all season.
Have we not? Oh, well, there we go. I've arrived and somehow caused the whole lobby to mess up. Oh, dear me. But yes, I mean, I'm looking through the grid and I recognise most drivers. There's only one driver I don't recognise the name of, and that is Carlos Galindo. Did he used to run under a different name, possibly? Because he's in tests.
I'm not
So he must have
sure.
been here a while if he's in a decent team, but I don't recognise the name.
I'm going to be honest. Me either. I don't think he's raced this. Oh, no, he has. Oh, he raced in Belgium. That's probably why I don't recognise him.
yeah.
He actually got second in Belgium, so maybe a dark horse to look out for.
Yes.
He is a reserve, so he's not full-time in the RB. The other RB driver should be, if I can find it, Daniel Gottschalk, but he's unfortunately not here tonight. But yeah, for Carlos, it could be a little bit of an underdog here for this Grand Prix. Second in Belgium. Can he follow up with a good result here this evening? Starting in the top 10. So we could certainly see him go back on the roster, or at least another top 5 finish. And for a reserve, having a second place and a 5th place, if someone decides to drop out, brilliant way to say, I'll take that full-time seat because I'll be the highest in standings.
Indeed, and we are getting our way in shortly to the session. We have got our countdown on the screen. So, of course, not long to go before we head our way into the lobby. And then, of course, our 28-lap race around the Shanghai International Circuit here in China, of course, round 4 of the PC F4 Championship. And, of course, Tom Roberts on pole position. He's down in, I think, like 14th in the standings. A win here today would bounce him up in towards, I think, P5, P4. So he's certainly going to be looking to hoping to cling on to that P1 here. And then, of course, Louis Welch, if he was to get a second place here today, that would easily put him to around 8-9 points ahead of second place, which is what he needs to kind of create a buffer nice and early.
Yeah, certainly. We could certainly see if he can make that buffer early on in this Grand Prix, and that'll be so crucial, especially with how DRS is around this circuit, especially down that back straight. Making that buffer is going to be so key. And we're about to see the drivers load into the lobby, get their setups on, and sort out their strategy. Well, of course, now look at the skies. It is clear at the moment. There's a little few clouds looming in the area, but at the moment it does seem to be a dry race. And now the strategy game will kick in. We'll probably have a hard medium strategy. Everyone is looking to go on the hards, and around a circuit like China here, Nathan, it's very much a tyre wear circuit, so the hards are probably the optimum thing to start on around this track.
Yes, certainly, and it seems everybody's going that way, hard to medium, but of course safety cars can make you could go hard medium, or even hard soft if the safety car comes out quite late. We'll of course see what those drivers choose to do, but of course not long to go before we head our way in to our race. And of course, Max, you can take the start, Ben, as you're normally here. I'm not going to rob it away from you. Should be a really good race here around Shanghai, and I can't wait till the drivers get themselves on track.
Me either. It's all been boiling up to this point. Just this little extra weight might have just added some tension and some pressure, especially onto Tom Roberts, our pole man. And we'll see if he's able to gallop away from that pole position spot, or will Louis Welch be able to sliver up his inside and maybe go for a move into turn 2. Drivers still just getting ready in this session, and of course just sorting out their fuel loads as well. Don't want to be too heavy or you be too slow down the straights, or too light because you don't want to run out of fuel by the end of the Grand Prix and having to lift and coast. So here we are then, ladies and gentlemen. The lights are on. It's 5 red lights here in China. And we're underway here in the Grand Prix, and it's Tom Roberts who leads us away. Well, he gets a very nice start from that pole position spot. Louis Welch not even able to drag close to him to the inside into turn 1. Stephen Basso and Alessandro Finn going side by side just a little bit further back. The Williams now around the outside of the Red Bull as we head into turn 3. Everyone going through turn 1 smoothly so far as we then head through turn 3. Finn still on the outside line, but the inside for turn 6. Tom Roberts having that nice buffer to Louis Welch behind. Finn, though, late on the brakes, getting a little boxed in from Louis Welch in front. Vasso's been forced wide. That's allowed Baden Leakey's in the kicks Albert to then move alongside as we head side by side through turn 7 and 8. This is very risky to do this early on in the Grand Prix. A little bit of contact made, but racing in the right direction. Tintor Nemo and Oliver Knott still scrapping further back as well. Oliver actually into the back of his teammate Damien Courier with a big slide for the Aston Martin. That's allowed Tom 97 through as well. Sasha Neeb is now going to look to the inside of the Aston Martin, so maybe more places drops. But a brilliant opening lap there from Tom Roberts. A brilliant launch off the line to keep that pole position and not even be threatened by Louis Welch into turn 2.
Indeed, a brilliant start, of course, from our front runners, of course, the top 3. Just looking to hold onto those positions now, unless we do have a move here by Alessandro Finn. Down towards turn 15, pulls to the inside of Louis Welch. Louis going to hang it around the outside in towards the braking zone. They still carry it side by side. A bit of contact there, and Alessandro Finn does run a little bit wide, but still has that outside line and has that second place as we head on to lap 2 of 28. And of course, this final corner is horrible. It's very easy to run wide, especially when you take it side by side. So don't be alarmed if we see drivers taking it a bit slower through there, just so they can get through without taking that track limit warning. And also, as soon as you hit that curb, it can push you along it the whole way and lose you tenths of a second. So they're going to have to be careful not to touch that curb as we go into lap 2 of 28 here. It's still Tom Roberts that leads, but Alessandro Finn has not been scared to show that he does want to make some early overtakes.
Alessandro Finn, who we know here in F4 from last season, very aggressive driver. When he's at the front, he does mean business. Of course, got a podium in Vegas last season, and that really was the highlight of what was actually quite a poor season by Alessandro Finn's standards. This season hasn't really started off that great either, but now looking for a first podium. He likes these obscure circuits, he likes these circuits with those longer corners, and he really does suit that kind of driving style. But here we are then, DRS will be enabled for the first time as we head down this back straight. Will we see a move from Alessandro Finn, or potentially even Louis Welch, who is tucked up in that slipstream behind? But here we go then, here comes Alessandro Finn to take that race lead away from Tom Roberts. The Williams man hits the forefront of the field, and Tom, he's going to hold this one to the outside. It was extremely late on the brakes from Tom Roberts. That's actually allowed Louis Welch to get the good old switcheroo. Now on the outside for the final corner. Is he going to carry on going for it? He's tried it around the outside, but just backs out of it at the last possible opportunity to make sure there's no contact made. And now here comes Tom Roberts with the DRS back on Alessandro Finn as we head down that main straight once more. Roberts on the outside. He's got to look out for Louis as well behind. Make sure he don't get a run up the inside, which he does. To the inside now goes the Alpine driver, but the outside for turn 3, holding it round the long way against Tom Roberts. And Louis Welch just has to slot in behind once more, but he can't attack too aggressively because he's got a kick Sauber, who is really looming large in the mirrors of Baden Leakey's.
There's contact there between JST and Igor Piasecki. Get his name right, well, no, Igor Piasecki, who's in P6 as we head our way through turn 7. Of course, these two having a bit of contact, and nearly JST was in the barriers at one point, and Carlos Galindo was waiting to make a move, but just could never get alongside any of them and kind of capitalise off their little mistakes as we head our way back down towards turn 12. And I've seen a forbidden message in the chat saying the lobby is desynced. That is the last thing I wanted to hear. So hopefully it's just client side and not actually an issue with the game. That's all. That's going to be Tom 97 out of the session. What's... Oh, no, the lobby is desynced. Because... Yes, I'm sure it is, because Tom wasn't there. Look, his car's retired on track.
Oh.
And
okay, this now maybe throws a spanner in the works, and these past 3 laps might mean nothing for the drivers if it is desynced. I mean, Oliver Knott went straight on at turn 11.
Louis Welch. Oh, yeah, it's gone, isn't it? Oh, we'll have a restart.
Yeah, lobby restart, 2 desynced. Oh, if you're Alessandro Finn, you'll be absolutely hating this because you've been so good in the opening 3 laps. You've got the race lead, and now you're unfortunately going to have to start it all over again. And he was up 3 places, so he started in 4th, now up to the front of the field, and we're now having the lobby restart, which is unfortunate, I'm afraid. And look at that lunge from Tom Roberts, a brilliant move from the Ferrari to put himself to the front of the field. But at the end of the day, it all means nothing because I think we are having a lobby restart here.
We certainly are, unfortunately. We have a lobby restart. Great, that's all I needed. That's all I wanted here tonight. I mean, I've got another broadcast to head off to at 21:50, so I'm hoping we're done by then. Otherwise, they're going to be angry when I turn up late. But yes, of course, we'll have our restart, and I don't get why nobody's leaving the session. Come on, guys. Everyone's, especially those in the European time zones who are like 1 or 2 hours ahead. They want to, they don't want to be heading off at 12 AM. They want to be getting the race done and dusted. So we're going to exit multiplayer and start again. And what we'll do is, GT Omega will be even nicer to them, and we'll give them another play of their ad. So we'll be back very shortly. Right, so welcome back, everybody. Max's camera's decided to work. Brilliant. There we go.
Yay!
So at least we can see Max now for the next part of the intermission while we get everyone back into the new session. And we go again. We got 4 people in, a brilliant start here, but of course, as desync, you've got to have those issues sorted. You can't let everybody race with desync because it's unfair. People get an advantage and others get a heavy disadvantage. And I mean, I suppose a good thing is everybody knows what strategy everyone's on for, which is hard to medium. Before, you wouldn't know that. You just guess what people are doing, but everybody knows they're all going to go hard medium. But then it makes you think, some of those near the back, are they going to try something different here? And just try and throw a spanner in the works and see if they can make something happen from possibly trying to medium hard? We don't know. I doubt it, but we'll have to see. But of course, we are getting everybody back into the session. Then we're good to go again for the race. But certainly an annoying end to the evening here.
Yeah, it certainly is. And yeah, it does somewhat spoil the strategies and potentially just like how aggressive drivers wanted to be and maybe catch their rivals off guard. As I'm looking in the Discord and I'm seeing a flying Oliver Knott over Tom 97.
Oh.
I don't know if that's just the desync, and unfortunately, that is a real cause of why Oliver Knott went straight on at turn 11 on that lap. So yeah, it's just so unfortunate we had this desync. But as I was saying, yeah. I feel like Alessandro Finn and maybe a few other drivers being aggressive on purpose that early to just catch some drivers off guard. Yeah. And now the likes of Tom Roberts and Louis Welch are going to be expecting that, and it could go all out the window for Alessandro Finn, and it might make it a bit more difficult for him to be able to make those overtakes. Certainly,
but then again, I don't think people are too, well, especially Tom at that point, I don't think he was too bothered really about losing that first place initially, because he could have easily taken it back a lap or two later, or even 10 laps over if he would have wanted to. But Louis Welch, of course, doesn't want to lose that second place. He always wants to be the first man to have that DRS, not be second or third to have the DRS, because then you get no advantage or no disadvantage at all. You're just kind of stuck there, and you just got to keep running behind in that third or fourth place. So he'll definitely this time be more cautious on keeping Alessandro behind and just keeping that second spot. If needs be, takes first away from Tom Roberts and just switches between the Alpine and the Ferrari. It's more than common. It's going to happen at the start of the race, especially those first 10 laps or so, 10-12 laps, and then of course when we get the pit stops, that's when things become more crucial, and that's when the overtakes actually mean something in the race. If you're in the top 5, the overtakes there mean pretty much nothing really, but once you get the overtake, once you get the pit stops done, they mean a lot. As Max's camera's gone again, great.
Oh. We are not having a good time of things,
no.
are we, Nathan?
We're not. We're certainly not. And we've got 13 cars in, so we're nearly there. And Tom noticed that. So Tom tried to leave the session to get back in, but it retired his car because it registered him as AI. Oh, dear me.
The good old lobby glitch. That's been a staple of these last 2 games, where you're a little bit desync to the rest. You leave the lobby and it retires your car. It happens in qualifying as well. And yeah, just really unfortunate to see there. All that desync, and yeah, again, just a lobby restart. It gives away everybody's strategies, and now we have to do that all over again. And that excitement of the opening few laps, unfortunately, does fade a little. And it does now maybe just relax some of these drivers. Maybe the likes of top pole position, he can get that launch, and he probably knows he can easily get it done again. So for Louis, and for Louis as well, it's now just refocus, redo things, and now you try and get a better launch than you did before. And maybe a little bit more pressure is now on the Alpine drivers' shoulders than the Ferraris.
Certainly, as we're just going to have a quick look at the standings once again before we head our way in. Of course, it is Louis Welch that leads the way on 24 points after a win in Brazil, and then a P4 in Belgium, with Isaac Leet, who isn't here tonight. He sits in second ahead of JSD. In 30, Damien Curiel in P4, and then Florian Fanzalter, who's also not here tonight, sits in P5 in the standings. So 8 points between our top 5. Of course, 2 of them not being here. So lots of points on the board, lots of opportunities here for the likes of JSD and Damien, and then those behind as well, likes of Balint, Igor, Carlos, also have good opportunities here to push forward, and also try and close in on the back of Louis Welch. But like I said earlier, Louis is good in quali, he's good in the race. Not many other drivers are like that, so that's what puts him in such a good position here, in my opinion, to probably win the championship, or at least take it all the way to the final round in Abu Dhabi, because we do have a shorter season. We've only got 5 races left, 6 races left, then 5 after this one, which I suppose does make it a lot more interesting, Max, because you haven't got constant races to know you can get points. You've got 9 and that's it. Some seasons we've had 12, some seasons we've had even 15 races, which is nearly double what we've got here.
Yeah, and it really just emphasises that you can't really have too many bad. I mean, you can't really have a bad race. I know Louis Welch, of course, didn't score in the first race and is still on the top of the standings, but you can't have another bad race after that. You can only afford one, and even then, if you're somewhere down in the standings, like where Aaron Ramirez, Carlos, Tom 97 are, you can't afford another bad race again. You've got to be on it. For the rest of the season, it's just about sheer consistency. And with the difference in tracks we have, of course, here in China, completely different to Austria. It's going to be a completely different challenge. And then, of course, you've got Silverstone after that. With the amount of different driving styles and the way you need to adapt to different circuits, especially Singapore as well, which isn't featured often, it then just does open that window for a few more mistakes to creep in. The consistency might not be as you see in the longer seasons, and it does apply a bit more pressure onto those drivers, knowing they have to be on it from the start, and they can't drop off that pace, or they'll be swallowed up down the standings and potentially lose a championship before it even really gets going. Yeah,
certainly. I mean, looking at the standings there, of course, there's drivers that are still on 0 points, you know, and some that are on 1 or 2. They're already on such a back foot here. Another poor result just kind of finishes it for them already, and then their main thing is just seeing what they can do in the races, because they know they've got no chance of a championship. There's nothing to lose, so they'll be more likely to push a bit harder in the races and defend those key positions, because if they can't win the championship or they can't have a chance to, they're going to want to defend a P1 or a P2 or a P3 a lot harder than others would, who just want to get a point, you know, get some points on the board. So definitely going to be interesting to see some of those who we expect to be a little bit further back on the grid as the rounds go on. But we have got everybody in the session now. We have got a few people starting to tick that ready up button. So hopefully we haven't got too long to go before we head our way in, and then we can go yet again into another 28 laps of China, and this time hopefully make it past lap 3.
Hopefully so. So today the drivers will be doing a 31 if I can do my math. Yeah, 31 laps of China here this evening in the Grand Prix format. And Louis has just told Alessandro, Finn and Tom Roberts to stop going side by side every corner so he can have an opportunity to overtake. So yeah, Louis, he's looking to try and keep Alessandro behind, I think, this time. That's going to be his real target for this one. Try and get a good launch, and then just try to keep the Williams behind. He knows he's going to be aggressive down that back straight if he's able to get past Stephen Vasso quickly. So for Finn, it is just about keeping those elbows out. Be aggressive as you once were, and certainly see yourself move up the order and maybe to the front of the field once more. We're about to get underway shortly. We are loading into the race lobby, and hopefully this time around, everything runs smoothly. We cross our fingers and hope.
Hopefully, yes. I'm hoping that we can actually get started this time. I'm sure if there's another restart, then there's a chance the race will just be postponed, or it to be given, you know, like a 35% or 25% race, because yes, it's certainly not ideal, and people have got lots of things to do with their evenings. Some people have to sleep, and you know, knowing that there's people from many different time zones, for some people it's already 10 or 11 o'clock in the evening. So of course, I don't want to keep spending their night trying to get themselves into a lobby that works. But here we are, back again on this screen of looking at the garages as everybody's getting themselves prepared. Of course, talking with their engineers, getting their strategies sorted out, and I want to just quickly look and see, is there any change with tyres? No. So no one's decided to make it interesting for us.
No, I feel like it's just a bit of just suicide if you go on the alternate strategy, because you're going to box earlier than the rest, and you're going to be out the DRS, and it's just impossible to catch up. So everybody on the hards, everybody going to be going on to the mediums, probably around about lap 14, 15 is when I suppose they will go onto the medium compounder tyres, and that's where we start to see a bit more aggressive racing. The first stint, usually just a high-speed game of chess. Try get that track position for the pit stops, and then once you come out onto those fresh mediums, you know there is no more opportunities to go for a strategic pit stop, and it's just going to be all about racing aggressively to the end, making your way up through the order, and either holding onto your position on that final lap or going for an overtake down that back straight. It's going to be really whoever starts the final lap second or third is going to be in prime position to win this one here, Nathan. But actually, we're going to get underway here once again. It's Tom Roberts to lead us away from pole once more. And here we are then, lights out and away we go. And this time, Tom has not got the great of the starts. And the Alpine of Louis Welch looks to the inside line and he snatches that race lead away. But here comes Tom with the good old switchback. He's now to that inside line, it'll be the outside. For turn 3, Alessandro Finn's disposed of Stephen Basso quicker than he did last time around. Igor Brzezicki now battling with the Red Bull as we head up into turns 5 and now into 6. Who's going to be later on the brakes? Tom Roberts is just going to sit behind Igor Brzezicki, side by side still with Stephen Basso, who's going to come out on top. Stephen on the outside line being forced wide like we saw him with Alessandro Finn in the last lobby, and Igor takes that 4th place away. Oliver Knott is squabbling with Tom 97. Damien Couriel is squabbling with Jensen Ralston as well. The Mercedes driver now going around the outside of the Aston Martin. Jensen keeps that position, and as you can see, Oliver Knott is now side by side with the Alpine still of Tom 97. I think there's a move further up. That was Carlos Galliano on Stephen Vasso, and there's also 2x2 as they go. Curiel, Tonimo, Tom, and Oliver Knott. Who's going to come out on top in this one? Curiel's going to lead the train, not with a slide behind Tom 97. He drops down to 14th place, but as we look further up, Louis Welch, second time's the charm. He takes the race lead away from Tom Roberts.
He certainly does a brilliant move there by Louis Welch to jump up into that top spot, and this time around Alessandro Finn has got to get past Tom Roberts first. Of course, last time it was him getting past Louis and then getting past Tom. As we do see further back, more moves happening there. Damien Curiel having an argument here with Tim Torneo out of the final corner, back down towards turn 1 we go. And Damien does get that move for P11. I think it was more defended than done, as Tim was already behind him further back, because we do see as well there Bogdan Moldovan looking to make a move on the back of Oliver Knott, who's of course dropped down to P14 after a very nice overtake from Tom 97 at the end of lap number 1. But of course we're here for lap 2 of 28, and just looking a little bit further ahead there, we do see Stephen Vasso looking to close in and possibly looking to make a move ahead of Igor Piasecki here as we head our way through and towards turn 7 at the long left-hander. Of course, surprisingly, a corner which is quite easy to actually spin off, because if you jank the wheel a little bit too much to the left, sometimes it can cause a bit of instability. So drivers have got to be careful through there, not to lose that rear, as we do see JSD here actually with a lot of pace to use and looking to get ahead of Balin Telekash, but can't quite find the move yet, but could look for it down towards turn 15.
Yeah, of course, Jay at the moment staying where he started in 8th place. Now looking to get that kickstart, but under some pressure. Balin has not had the best start like he did last time around, contrasting fortunes from his last attempt. But here comes Tom Roberts now on Louis Welch. He's going to go for the move. No, he is not. It's Alessandro Finn lining up a move. Once again, no, just stays behind the Ferrari driver. Maybe this time Finn going for a different approach. Be a little less aggressive and just think about the long gain, and not think about just hitting the front early on and wasting all your battery. You can see the fastest lap just flicking through. Jensen Ralston now having that fastest lap as we cross the start-finish lines. We move up into turn 1 once more. Tom Roberts just sitting behind Louis Welch again. And this is where we're going to see that high-speed game of chess. That's somewhat of a peloton hit the front of the field. No one going to be wanting to make moves just yet. Don't want to be putting themselves in unnecessary situations. And for Louis Welch out in front, he's controlled those opening 2 laps well. Tom Roberts in that first sector seeming to be struggling a little bit. It's now Alessandro Finn starting to put him under some sort of pressure, heading through the left-hander and right-hander of 7 and 8.
Yeah, I think it could be a little bit tactical though here by Tom to do that, because if he could just sit a little bit further back and increase that gap to Louis, then when we get that DRS heading out towards turn 16, Tom hasn't got to worry about being overtaken by Alessandro and then, of course, being overtaken by Louis. And then letting Alessandro also get ahead of Louis. If he has that gap already, then Alessandro can only get past one of them. So that really helps them in terms of just keeping Alessandro behind, because they know he's quick and they know he's going to be here to make those overtakes as we head our way down to turn 16. The gap's big, so Alessandro can get a move on Tom, but he's still way too further back from Louis to make a move on him.
Yeah, here comes Alessandro Finn then to the inside line. He's going to get this move done super close to contact. Stephen and Carlos further back as Alessandro Finn has a slide on the exit of the corner, and that's allowed Tom Roberts to get back in front. He's burnt most of his battery making that move. And Carlos is now in front of Stephen Vasso. He's moved himself up into 5th place. But Alessandro Finn, he's burnt a lot of battery trying that overtake down to about 20%. And now with a lot of work in his hands, trying to build that back up, as now Stephen Vasso is fighting back at Carlos as they head down into turns 1 and 2, and he's done just that. Got straight back in front. Baden Lerkic now trying that move for 6th place, but he's now under pressure from JSD. It seems if you make that attack, you're going to be put under pressure quite quickly if you don't get the move done. As there we see JSD and Balin making a little bit of contact. That's allowed Balin to just sliver up the inside slightly against Carlos, and not able to get that move done and stick in front. But for Tom Roberts, he's able to stick in that 2nd place. He was able to defend that move from Alessandro Finn, who had the slide out of the hairpin. And now for Finn, it's all about maybe just wait to that, get back to full battery, and then try it round 2, and hopefully this time get past the Scuderia Ferrari.
It certainly is, as yet again just following here with our front 3. Of course, Louis Welch still has the lead of the race ahead of Tom Roberts. And then Alessandro Finn in 3rd here in the Williams car with Igor Piasecki in P4, and then Stephen Vasso rounding off our top 5 here as we go into shortly lap 5 of 28, and we'll see who's next to make a move. Alessandro Finn closing in quickly here on the back of Roberts, but not closing in to make a move. Roberts closes into the rear of Louis Welch, but also keen on just sticking in that 2nd spot for now and not bothering about making any overtakes. As we do see there, I think a bit of contact further back as Lerkic was ghosted. We did see JSC get ahead of Rosen, who's dropped down to P11 now, possibly could drop below Team Tornamo as well and go from P8 to P12 in the matter of 2 corners. So we head our way into turn 1, the Ferrari versus the Mercedes as we head our way through, and it will be the Ferrari of Team Tornamo into P11 now and looking to go into P10. A bit of a dive bomb at turn 3. I think caught Damien Curiel there a little bit off guard, because I didn't even think he was going to go for the move, never mind a car who's focusing on the car ahead, not the car behind. As we head into turn 6 now, Tim's on the outside line, gets forced a little bit wide there by Damien, and for now concedes that P10 spot and still has to hunt down for those points.
Certainly does, but that was a lovely sneak attack there from Tintornimo, even though it did not work out in his favour. Really well done to get that, just to send it to the inside, and Damien as well to just make sure he doesn't get clipped by the Ferrari either. Brilliant avoidance from him as well, as we then head up into turns 11 and 12 once more. Lap 5 of 28 here now, and we're starting to see a few drivers get a little bit more racy as this race progresses. Of course, they want to get higher up the order for that track position when the pit stops come along. Then here comes Alessandro Finn talking about racy drivers. The Williams man is certainly one of them. And there we go then, 3 wide into the fire hairpin now. Alessandro Finn backs out of it. There goes Tom Roberts round the outside, and look at Igor Piasecki round the outside of Alessandro Finn now. Caught the Williams napping. He backed out of the move, and it's actually demoted him a place. Igor moving himself up into 3rd. Tom Roberts able to snatch that race lead away from Louis Welch, but will Louis fight this one back? I don't think he will. He'll just want to save that battery, but here comes the Haas of Igor. Is he going to go for the move? Stephen Vasso late on the brakes into that 1st corner, going to try steamroll this one round the outside of not only Alessandro Finn, but Igor Piasecki as well, but there he just drops behind the Haas, and now squabbling with Alessandro Finn, who'll get the better run out the corner, doesn't get the move done, and just being on the outside there for turn 1 isn't really where you want to be. Carlos looking for a move on Stephen Vasso. Contact between Alessandro Finn and Vasso is there. Well, there's Carlos. He's forced wide. That's allowed Baden Lerkic through, and he moves himself up into 6th place in the kick Sauber. It really is. If you make a move that does not work out in your favour, if you end up then being put under pressure, you'll lose that position. It is a chain reaction, and for Alessandro Finn, he's dropped down to 4th, and for Carlos, he's moved down to 7th.
Indeed, not ideal for those 2 drivers here. Of course, well, when we was watching Alessandro earlier, I don't know why he backed out. I thought he would have just tried to stick his wheels in there just so he didn't have that threat from Igor, but as soon as he went back into the, into the braking zone and went behind those 2, Igor knew that move was on and he could get himself past here as we head our way back down towards turn 15. Is there any moves this time? I'm not sure there is from Alessandro Finn, but there could be here from Carlos Galindo in towards Turn 15 we go. We've got Elikash making a send, and I think a little bit early on the brakes there for Stephen Vasso, and Carlos Galindo goes right into the back of the Red Bull and gets some damage and loses his right wing end plate, and JSD gets forced off track. He forces Carlos back onto the circuit as we head our way down to turn 1 again, and Galindo with damage. We have Damien Curiel there looking to make a move, but he's also had a bit of a screen freeze, I think, and has dropped back to P12. It's all chaos here on lap 7.
Disaster there for Carlos Galindo, unfortunately. Picking up that front wing damage around the circuit where you probably don't want it the most due to the nature of these long corners. You need that downforce, and now he's attacking his own teammate. There he goes to the inside of Lucas Basner for P8 in this Grand Prix. Down at turn 6, not able to get the move done to Aston Martin, still ghosting inside one another. Of course, Damien, having that previous screen freeze, is now just able to pull that little bit further clear, and he is now up into 11th place. Now looking all over the back of Tim Sornimo. Of course, he's looking over the back of Carlos, who of course has that front wing damage and will now be bleeding lap time corner by corner. And here comes Tim. He doesn't want to waste too much time, and Carlos turns into the corner early, tries to anticipate Tim backing out of that one or not getting close enough for the move, and tries cutting across aggressively, not able to get it done. And here comes Damien Curiel now to the inside line. He's going to pick the Ferrari off for a move up into the top 10, or is he? And are we going to see Oliver Knott get involved? Could we see 4 wide down this back straight? No, Carlos does have the DRS, but we are going to see 3 wide potentially. There goes Oliver Knott, not past 1 but 2. Louis Welch is scrapping with Igor Brzezicki, who actually is able to hold on to the position. Tim Sornimo and Damien Curiel now going for the move, and Tim Sornimo in the span of a straight and 2 corners drops from 10th place down to 12th. And unfortunate for the Ferrari driver, he tried the move, and just like we've seen other drivers do, once they try to make a failed overtake, they then get swallowed up by the field behind.
They certainly do, and still, all those battles heating up here. We do have Bogdan Moldovan looking to make a move ahead of Jensen Rosen, who's now been demoted to P14, and no wonder why. He's got damage on that Mercedes. That's why he's dropped back so quickly, and that must have been caused of when he had a bit of contact with Balint Elikash earlier on, as we do see Sasha Neeb there defending from Tom 97. Tom's going to go to the outside out of turn 6, in towards turn 7 they go, and still no move can be made there for Tom 97. Has to back out and stay in P16 for now. Of course, after taking a podium earlier on this season, he doesn't want to be down in that bottom 3 and nowhere near points, as Jensen Rosen's made another mistake, and now allows Tom at 97 to possibly make a move and jump up into P14. Very nice there by Tom 97, capitalising off of the damage for the Mercedes ahead. And now Sasha Neeb looking to jump up ahead of the Mercedes and get himself into P15 himself. But we do see further ahead here, Balint Elikash looking to make a move ahead as Stephen Vasso looks to the right. Knows that move's not going to happen there. Will look to the right again. Of course, the door being left open by the Red Bull. Up goes the kick Sabre, looking to try and get up into P5, does so. Little bit of contact there between Igor Piasecki and Alessandro Finn, but they all make it through in the same order they did earlier on, even though there was constant contact between 4 of them.
Yeah, Alessandro, brilliant defence there from both Aligis and also Przieski. And there goes Vasso now to the outside line. He's tried this one before and then got swallowed up from behind. And here he comes then. Is JSD to the inside, the by McLaren. He's going to look for it to the outside line. Now through turn 3. And Stephen Vasso this time around able to hold on to the position, but it's given him the worst run out of the corner. And now this might allow Jay to go for a move into turn 6. He's going to look for it. He's actually forced Stephen Vasso into the move on Baden Alekis. This might now give Jay the run out of turn 6, but no, he just has to sit behind. Was blocked off by the Red Bull driver. Brilliant defence from Stephen Vasso to keep his Red Bull in 6th place, but it is oh so close between this field. It is nose to tail stuff, and really just drivers pushing to their absolute fullest to try and get some moves done, but not really working out into their favour. Louis Welch is still sitting behind Tom Roberts. He knows he can just save this battery and sit behind. Tom actually going a little bit deep into turn 11. That might show a little bit of wear is starting to be caused on these hard compounded tyres. Of course, not long until we come into the pit lane. That's why we're seeing drivers starting to get that little bit more aggressive, and we could now see JSD or even Alessandro Finn go for a move on the drivers in front of them.
Indeed, as we head our way down to turn 15, we did see there Alessandro was looking for a move on Eagle, but backed out at the last second, as we do see there Damien Curiel there looking to make a move to get up into the top 10 ahead of the damaged Carlos Galindo here as we head on to lap 9 or lap 10 of 28, sorry, and Carlos does keep that move ahead and stays in P10 for now, and Damien's still looking to close in and make an overtake further at the front. Now we are getting a lot closer here between our top four, and that's contact, and that's PSGL halfway round. The hash drops down to P5, contact with Alessandro Finn, and also Alessandro Finn has got damage on that Williams. A little bit too late on the brakes there for the Williams car, and now that presents an opportunity to Balin Telegeshi to try and jump up into third, ascending to turn 6 up the inside by the Kick Sabre, and into third place Balin goes, and now looks to close in on our top two, but big scenes there between Alessandro Finn and Igor Piasecki.
Oh, disaster for the pair of them, and worse for Alessandro Finn. Don't do the crime if you can't take the punishment with it. And unfortunately for Alessandro Finn, that's exactly what has happened. He's picked up the front wing damage from hitting the back of Igor, and unfortunately that could be a spell that ends his podium chances. So here we are then with Igor once more as he heads through the long right-hander. Alessandro Finn will just have DRS, and luckily for Balin Telegeshi, he will just have DRS on the top two as well. And this could be where Louis Welch now goes for a move on Tom Roberts. Yes, it is. He then capitalises on that carnage behind, and he moves himself to the front of the field. Are we going to see Igor go for the move this time around? Yes, he is. To the inside he goes of Alessandro Finn. Is he going to be able to pick this move up? There's a little bit of a slide, a bit more contact between the pair, and Igor moves himself up into fourth, and Stephen Vasso following him through as well. Alessandro Finn is going to be suffering so much with this front wing damage. Here comes JSD already to go for the move for 6th place. He's dropping like a stone, and maybe now even Lucas Baisner could get the move done if he just finds a way up the inside line. There he goes, and Lucas Baisner up into 7th place. Alessandro Finn in the span of the lap has gone from looking at 3rd place now looking in his rearview mirrors to not drop down to 9th.
Indeed, a big shame here for Alessandro Finn. Of course, a really good start in this one. As now Oliver Knott is looking to make a move, and also Damien Curiel as well looking to make a move. Into turn 6 we go once again. Oliver Knott has taken the outside line, and it has paid off there, and he now jumps up into P8 looking to score some decent points in the Aston Martin. Further ahead there, Balint has actually lost that 1 second to Tom and Louis, and that is not what he wants. He needs to have that DRS, otherwise he will be under immense pressure from Igor and Stephen behind, and also JSD soon, as he's got some brilliant pace in that McLaren as we head our way through in towards turn number 13. And I don't think Balint's got DRS. No, he has not, as we head our way out, and DRS of course will be enabled for Tom Roberts very shortly as we go back down towards turn 15. Tom will look to go back into the lead, takes it away from Louis Welch, and then Igor Piasecki as well getting that DRS, but actually for a second lost time to Balint.
Yeah, that's surprising there from Igor, but of course we'll now just be focusing on sticking with the Kick Sabre as now Damien Curiel finds his way past Alessandro Finn. And just like we saw a lap ago, one car gets past the hairpin, the other up into the final corner, and there's Tim Tornimo past Alessandro Finn. And in the span of 2 laps, Finn is now out of the points. That front wing damage really affecting the Williams man. He's now scrapping the other driver with front wing damage. That is the V-carb of Carlos as they go side by side through turns 2 and now into turn 3 here on lap 12 of 28. And Carlos just not being able to get that move done. A little bit of tyre locking. That's forced Carlos wide. This might allow Bogdan Moldovan, Alessandro Finn's teammate, to capitalise on this. His contact made. A brilliant save from Bogdan Moldovan. An expert piece of car control. It does drop him down 2 places, but how he's kept that car pointing in the right direction, I do not know. He was all over the road, and still for Bogdan Moldovan in this race, and still scrapping for that 11th position, as there we see Tom 97 to the inside there of Carlos, and some tyre locking between Neeb and Bogdan Moldovan. A slide from Moldovan as well as he makes contact with Patrick Datmeyer. Some more expert car control, and I think Moldovan just might have to take a minute, maybe drop behind Datmeyer, collect his head once more, and then just refocus on the race in front. But for Bogdan Moldovan, wow, what pieces of car control that was.
A brilliant save, especially on this game where saving the car can be quite difficult once the wheel flings one way. As we do see there a move, of course, there for Tom Roberts, for Louis Welch going ahead of Tom Roberts, and then we did see Tom 97 taking 11th place away from Carlos Galindo. And just on board here with JSD, heading out to the final corner, a little bit wide there for Stephen Vasso. And we can see the ERS being burnt here by JSD. Pulls to the outside to get ahead of the Red Bull in towards turn 1. And into P5 goes JSD, as we do see Sasha Nieb ahead of Alessandro Finn, and Alessandro's race is more than dead and buried here. It's not been good here for the Williams driver or the Williams team, as Bogdan's in P15. No points are looking to be scored here at all for the Williams team here tonight, as we do see as well. Now Lucas Basner also closing in on the back of Stephen Vasso, but no move can be made just yet.
Yeah, no move being made just yet. And in the standings for Williams, Moldovan on 7 points. And then for his teammate Alessandro Finn, he's actually still not got a point scoring opportunity on the board. And for Moldovan, it was a very strong season last time out in F4. Of course, was one of the championship contenders till the final few rounds, and really came alive at the midpoint in the season, and won 2 races that he started back to back. Just not able to find that same form here so far this season. And for his teammate Alessandro Finn, it is a story like we saw last season. Was the highlight of 3rd place, like I mentioned earlier, but just was never really able to score those consistent points. And that's what we're seeing here again, as there goes Tom Roberts on Louis Welch to move himself up into the race lead once more. And we now see Baden Alecki's behind, just maybe thinking about striking ever so shortly. We'll be into the pit stop phase within the next couple laps, and DRS is now going to be open. Here we see, is anyone going to go for the move? Alessandro Finn dropping further back. He comes into the pit lane and to get off those hard compounded tyres and maybe change that front wing. But now we see, is there going to be a move from Baden? No, he's just going to sit behind once more, and the Scuderia Ferrari of Tom Roberts will lead us away again. Of course, the man who started on pole, he didn't have the greatest of race starts, dropping behind Louis Welch, but was able to get back in front with the DRS, and is now commanding it very, very nicely. And Louis and Tom have done very well at the front to work together, and I say that they've had the least controversial race out of all the drivers in the field so far, and hopefully for their sake that does continue.
Yes, try not to jinx it too much, Max. We don't want those two having contact and both being out on the final lap, because then surely that blame would be on you there for cursing them. But no, they're doing a really good job so far, working together, of course, just keeping Balint and Eagle behind, not letting anyone get involved with this battle. Then, of course, once we get down to our final couple of laps, it will be proper hard battling between those two at the front. But, of course, just keeping an eye here on Damien Courier on the back of Oliver Knott, looking to make a move ahead of his teammate, closing in, but he's not going to be able to make a move here, unfortunately. You could see a move here from Oliver, trying to get ahead of Lucas Basner in towards turn 15 to the outside. Goes the Aston Martin, brakes very late and actually causes a bit of a chain reaction to those ahead, of course, hitting the back of Lucas, who hit the back of Stephen, and then JSD also getting caught up, but luckily no one there got any damage.
Flashbacks to Lance Stroll under that safety car there from Oliver Knott, and into the back of a V-carb as well. So Oliver just taking some inspiration from his, obviously, his favourite driver
idol
of Lance Stroll. He's racing idol, and of course the GOAT of Formula 1. We see Oliver Knott now under a bit of pressure from his teammate Damien Courier, and we'll see if Courier's going to go for a move. But knowing these two are teammates, they're not going to race each other too aggressively. You would think they'll give each other a little bit more space and just want each other to help each other up the order and get up to the front of the field. We're on lap 15 of 28, as I did say earlier. Expect those pit stops within the next few moments for these drivers to get off those hard compound tyres and do the rest of the race on those mediums. I'm actually expecting maybe another 2 laps for maybe some of the drivers at the front of the field. Maybe if you're Tom Roberts or Louis Welch, you just extend that little bit more, have that younger tyre come the end of the Grand Prix. It may not mean much, but still having that little bit extra grip, maybe just not hitting the cliff as much on those tyres at the end of the Grand Prix could be the key to winning this one. So DRS will now be open once more. Is anyone going to go for the move? JSD looming large in the mirrors against Igor Pazeshki. Is he going to go for the move? He's not close enough. Baden Alecki's just moving over to the mid. There is no for a move on him, and here comes Oliver Knott. This time around was able to make it to the inside cleanly, but has a slide on the exit of the hairpin. Unfortunately for the Aston Martin driver, has to sit behind once more, and obviously might be getting a bit frustrated. But Courier and Tim Tornimo into the pit lane, and the Ferrari driver, if there was gravel there, would have been straight into that, but Tornimo just about keeping it out of the wall, heading into the pits.
Yes, I think going a little bit too deep there for Tim's liking. I think that would have scared him a bit as well. Heading into the pit lane, but of course we'll go now onto a set to the mediums, and we'll pop our track data, our tyre data on there, so you can see what lap tyres people are on, of course. Those that have not pitted, 15-lap-old tyres, and those that have pitted onto brand new mediums, as Alessandro Finn with a brand new front wing sets the fastest lap, but he's so far behind the rest of the field. I don't think he's got any hope of getting back into that top 10 here tonight. So, of course, just watching along here, Stephen Vasso on the back of JSD. Those two haven't had any battles recently, but they have just been sitting together and just looking to try and close in on the back of Igor Piasecki, and then, of course, further behind as well, Lucas Baesner also having a decent race, moving up plenty positions, and now up into P7. But, of course, our top two, Louis Welch and Tom Roberts, have been there since the start, of course, after the contact earlier on between Igor and Alessandro. Then Balintelekesh has slotted into third, and hopefully for him can keep that third spot, because that will be brilliant for him to get himself a podium when at one point it wasn't really looking that likely. I think he started down in P7 or P8.
Yeah, for Balin, it is a very good race so far from him. And are we going to see anybody else start themselves into the pit lane? Yes, we see Louis. We also see Balin. We see JSD, Stephen Vasso in as well. And again, just like Tim Tornimo, SD going super deep into that corner. And Balin actually started in P6. So he's still got a decent drive from there. There was a yellow flag briefly. I don't know who that was for.
Rosen.
Carlos, or was it Rosen? Rosen in the Mercedes. But now we see, where do the likes of Louis and Balin come out in relation to the drivers that boxed that one lap earlier of Damien Curiel and Tim Tornimo? And look at the undercut they've got here, Nathan. Curiel and Tornimo were down in 9th and 10th sorry, no, I think it was actually 11th and 12th respectively in this Grand Prix. They've now put themselves up in the net 2nd and 3rd of this race. And for Tom Roberts, Piasecki and Baesner, who have extended that extra lap, this could pay absolute dividends to their race-winning hopes, because they'll fall in that mid-pack, maybe even behind Oliver Knott and Bogdan Moldovan. That's how big of an undercut you do get. And for Damien Curiel, that is an ultimate masterclass. Going that lap earlier, saw everybody was congesting under braking, and was like, you know what, I'm going to trigger this undercut effect, see what I can do, moves himself up into provisional 2nd place after the pit stops, and now is on the back of what would be the race leader, Louis Welch. This could be an ultimate strategy from Curiel, which we've seen so many times so far this season.
It certainly could have been, and of course Tom Roberts, I expect, will dive into the pits this lap along with Igor and Lucas. And Tom here, he's going to drop back quite far, and especially after being in that leading position so long with Louis Welch, this is not the position he wants to be in, and luckily none of them gets that 10-second penalty in the pits. They've all made it in without gaining a penalty. And then, of course, we'll go on board here with JSD, and we'll see where those guys come out compared to this McLaren, who sits in net P5 at the moment here. Of course, Louis Welch a net race leader with Damien Curiel now in net 2nd, and Tim Tornimo in net 3rd, and Tom Roberts is coming out in what's that, P9. That's net P8 here for Tom Roberts. He's got a lot of work to do to catch up, and just say, for example, Tim and Damien and Louis were on 5-lap-old tyres, this would work well. But their tyres are only 2 laps older. That's only a few percent on wear. Tom's not going to have that much of an advantage here.
He certainly is, and it's going to make it so tricky to make his way through the field, and we've seen how difficult it has been for most of these drivers to get those moves done. A lot of them have been failed overtakes, which then have resulted in them getting overtaken from behind. So they've got to be oh so careful for the likes of Piasecki and Roberts, and they really need to just focus up, get those drivers one by one. Maybe just think of each driver, not the big picture of trying to get that race victory. Just think one driver at a time, slowly make their way back up through the order. Of course, lap 18 of 28, and look at this, Louis Welch is actually on the back of Jensen Rauschen, and might actually pick up a little bit of DRS. That's going to help him up at the front of the field. Here comes Damien Curiel as well, makes his way past Jensen, and he's going to just keep to that right-hand side and out the way of as many drivers as he can, but he's actually going to be caught by Balintelekesh behind, and actually side by side between Oliver Knott and Stephen Vasso for that 7th spot. And this time around into the hairpin, Oliver Knott is able to get a move done. Jensen dives into the pit lane, so he does not affect everybody else's Grand Prix, but it has dropped Balin about 8 tenths behind in this one. And for Damien Courier, we started to get a little bit racy behind Louis Welch, was jinking to that right-hand side, but he can't count out Tim Tornimo behind either, because that Scuderia Ferrari, it's gone from being Tom Roberts battling for that race lead. This time, it's now Tim, and we're going to see if he's going to be able to get past Damien Courier within a matter of moments.
Certainly, and I mean, with the pace that these guys have got at the moment, I think if Tim, Damien, and Louis just don't get into contact, don't get damaged, and don't make silly mistakes, they're all guaranteed the top 3 here, I think. I think they're really, really in a good position to keep their podium spots, as Tom Roberts closing in on the back of Stephen Vasso here for P7. We head our way through in towards turn number 10 and 10, of course, the double left-handers here. And Tom is looking to get those moves done. He needs to get them done now because he's not got that many laps to go in this race. Only 9 remaining here for Tom to make some moves. And he's got to get, what, pretty much a position a lap here, which is going to be very difficult for the Ferrari, given he's only on 1 lap better tyres than those ahead.
Yeah, he needs to get these moves done as soon as he possibly can to put him in the best position for that final lap. Of course, nearly 9 laps to go in this Grand Prix. And is he going to go for the move? There's Damien Courier and Louis Welch, and also Tim Tornimo as well. He's looking to the inside line. Is the Ferrari driver going to be able to do it? You've seen many drivers just drop the rear out of that hairpin on that inside line, and Louis Welch able to hold on to that position. Tom Roberts was able to get past Stephen Vasso as well. So for Tom Roberts, he's gone a little bit wide out of the final corner. So did Vasso, and that's now allowed Igor Brzezinski to go for the move into turns 1 and 2. Nicely done from him. And look at it congesting up at the front of the field. Drivers pushing each other through the first 2 corners. And for Louis Welch, he is just now sitting in that 2nd place, just saving that battery behind Courier. If anything here, Nathan, Louis would have wanted Damien to overtake him, so he could just sit behind, focus on saving that battery, and just try to sit behind for the remaining few laps. Of course, Tim Tornimo is going to be ultra racy behind as Basner and Vasso go side by side, and Vasso's able to hold on to the position. But I would say Welch is playing his cards perfectly here, and even if he drops behind Tornimo, he's not out of it yet.
Yep, certainly not, and I think Tim will definitely want to get that move done soon, ahead of Louis, just to have that car who's on a better tyre behind. Yes, he won't be gaining that much by having 1 lap fresher tyre, but he'll still get an advantage, and that's what Tim doesn't want Louis to have. So if he can get that move into 2nd place, he's then in a good position there just to, just keep swapping there with Damien Courier for that victory spot, as we do head our way back down towards turn 15 again. Of course, JSD looking to make a move ahead of Balin here for P4 as we head our way into the braking zone. Any moves being made? Not quite. They're all slowing down heavily into the braking zone, and no one there being able to make a move. And I think Tom Roberts might have had a bit of contact somewhere, because for a second it looked like his car was ghosted out. Either that, or could have been the shaders on the game there, making it look like the Ferrari was ghosted.
No, there was actually a little bit of contact, as there goes JSD to the outside of Ben and Alekis. Is he going to be able to get this move done? Of course, on that outside line, you just get on those marbles, you drift further and further out. There's contact between Tornimo and Welch. This might allow the Kick Sauber to maybe have attack as his best form of defence, but no, SD still holding it on the inside line, still drawing alongside in that Papaya McLaren. He's going to look to the inside as Alekis to hold on to this 4th place, maybe even move himself up into 3rd. He's to the inside of Tim Tornimo. Is he going to make this one work? No, he's not for the overtake, but is he able to keep the position? He's been able to do so. Tom Roberts able to get in front of Oliver Knott as well. There was contact at the hairpin. Look at Tom Roberts overspeed. A brilliant move through turn 7 and now into 8. If he's able to pick this one off, going to be on the outside for turns 9 and 10. SD with that better run through 10. He's going to force Roberts as wide as he possibly can. It's been the outside for turn 11 as well for the Ferrari driver, but the inside for turn 12. Roberts going to try just hold this one. He now has the better line through the right-hander and surely going to get this move done. But it was absolute brilliance in the middle sector to just force himself alongside. He kept it committed. He kept his foot planted, but he's still under pressure from JSD as we head down this back straight. The McLaren trying to draw alongside, doesn't have the battery to do so. This now allows Oliver Knott to attack. Tim Tornimo hits the front of the field. There's Roberts to the inside of SD still. They're still scrapping here between the McLaren and the Ferrari. Tim Tornimo takes the race lead from Louis Welch. Damien Courier drops down to 3rd. Alecki stays in 4th. And Roberts now up into 5th with some sheer brilliance to get the move done past JSD.
Brilliant moves there throughout the whole of the field here on lap 22 or 28. As we do see there, a bit of contact as Oliver Knott there looking to send a move on JSD and actually gets spun round. Oliver Knott is going to be out of the points, spun around at turn 2. A big shame there for the Aston Martin, who was looking to score some very good points here tonight in China. And with 6 laps to go, he's now out of the points and certainly not going to be scoring any here this evening, as we do see Igor Piasecki there arguing with Lucas Baisner, P7 and P8, as we head our way through in towards the right-hander. Slight bit of contact there, a bit of wheel hooking between the two, but they all make it through nice and cleanly. As Igor goes back to the inside into turn 9 and 10, still dragging it side by side as Lucas goes off circuit, rejoins a position below. Now down to P8 for Lucas Baisner as we do look further ahead. Of course, Tim Tornemo now is in the lead here, ahead of Louis Welch and Damien Curiel in 3rd place. And certainly this battle is going to heat up once again as we head down towards turn 15. Let's see who's going to make a move this time. Damien's closing in quite quickly.
He certainly is, but Welch just moving to the middle of the road, make it harder to defend as we all congest up once more. I think there's Igor Piasecki once again battling with Lucas Baisner, and the Haas driver able to keep that 7th spot, with Baisner just having to follow suit behind him. Of course, they're on the same lap age of tyre, so they're both on level playing fields on the tyre wear front. But now you see further up the order, Louis Welch starting to get a little bit more racy behind Tim Tornemo. Once again, he's used that DRS smartly. He saw Tim Tornemo go for the move, so he had to get the move done on Curiel. And there goes Piasecki to the inside of Esti. That was a robust move. It's 3 wide heading out of turn 4. Igor really using his car to just barge JSD out the way. And you can see further up Roberts to the inside of Alekis as well. Esti able to hold on to 6th place. Here comes Roberts on Alekis. We saw him go around the outside once through turn 7. Is he going to be able to do it again? No, the rear of the car just stepping out on him, and Baisner able to stay in front of Stephen Vasso, who went for a move into turn 6. At this late stage of the Grand Prix, it is all starting to kick off. And for Tom Roberts, he's really needing to try and get this move done on Balin Alekis if he wants any chance of moving himself into that top 3. But as I was saying before everyone kicks off, Welch using that DRS smartly. He saw the driver behind him of Tornemo go for that move. He knew he had to get past Damien Curiel as well. If he keeps doing that throughout this Grand Prix, he can stay in 2nd place and put himself within a brilliant chance of winning this Grand Prix.
He certainly could, as we head our way back down to the hairpin. Once again, lap 23 of 28. Moves are being made all throughout our top 10, as we do see there JSD going for a send on Tom Roberts, as we do see Igor as well looking to make a move, can't quite get ahead and actually loses the position to Lucas Baisner, who jumps up into the 7th spot and gets a move back that he lost earlier on, as we head our way back up to turn 1 again. And Tim still holds the lead. Louis Welch still going to be hunting down to take that Ferrari away. Of course, it was Tom Roberts in the lead earlier on. The other Ferrari, who started 13th, has now taken that spot. But Tom Roberts certainly not afraid to show that he has got the pace to keep moving forward, as we have 4 laps to go. And Roberts has got 4 positions to make if he wants to get back to where he started on that pole position spot up into P1. It would be brilliant for the Ferrari, but then again it could be brilliant for both Ferraris, because both of them have that chance of winning here.
Certainly does. One could dethrone the other. It's all about what horse is going to be the best out of the stables. But we're going to see Tornemo just lead this field once more. He's done so well up at the front of the field since he's got here. And now Tom Roberts looking for that move on Balin Alekis. Look how aggressive he was, just moving out from the rear of the Kick Sauber. There's some contact made through 11. Going to be the outside for 12. That might give him a poor run out to the corner. Of course, be straighter for longer to be able to get that momentum down that back straight. But Tom Roberts now moves himself up into 4th, using that battery just to try and put street clear of the Kick Sauber. He's let off it slightly, and that's allowed Alekis to the inside. He's still there. He's managed to wiggle his nose up the inside line. There goes JSD to the outside line as well. Who's going to come out on top? Alekis doing brilliantly well to hold on to this 4th place if he's able to keep in front of Tom Roberts. Yes, he has. And Stephen Vasso able to get him past Lucas Baisner. Neeb able to get in front of Esti, who's lost out in all of that. He's lost 4 places in 1 corner. But for Balin Alekis, it is brilliant defending at its finest. He's really pulling off a defensive masterclass against Roberts. And now, again, under pressure from the Ferrari, especially into turn 6, will need to keep his eyes on his rearview mirrors.
Certainly, and JSD has dropped down to P9 and nearly losing out to P10. I'm not sure if he's got a bit of damage possibly on that McLaren. It's gone all wrong here for JSD. Of course, it was up in P5 earlier on. Now down to P9 and could be on the brink of losing that 9th place as well, as we do look further ahead. Of course, Igor now rods on the back of Tom Roberts. Could himself look to make a move possibly. Of course, he has got the same lap tyre as Tom, which is 7, so he's got a decent, he's doing decent in that stance, but of course it's down to that raw pace. Has he got that raw pace to overtake the Ferrari? Of course, Tom closing in again on the back of Roberts, but on the back of Elakesh, but not quite close enough at this time. But has he got the gap to burn a bit of battery and make a move into P4?
That is certainly going to be the question. We head down the back straight once more. Are we actually going to see Alekis go for the move on Curiel and maybe put the Aston Martin under some pressure? The Aston Martin looking for the move on the Alpine. It was a late lunge to the inside line. A good old send from the Aston Martin driver, and that has allowed him to pull alongside Louis Welch, but unfortunately not able to get the move done into the final corner. Stays in third place. It's given him a poor run as well. This might allow the Kick Sauber to just try get the momentum, try get the attack on the Aston Martin, but once again, not getting close enough, as there's actually been contact between Louis Welch and Tim Tornimo. That's caused a big congestion, and look at Tom Roberts, the opportunistic at most, to the inside line, but the outside for turn 3, and this might actually put him under some pressure from Igor Brzezinski. Yes, it is the Hash just trying to see his nose up the inside, which we then head down into turn 6 once more. He's going to look to the outside, it's Tom Roberts, and that's actually allowed Balin to go to the inside of Damien Curiel. He's got to get the move done on the Aston Martin, surely, round the outside through turn 7, but the inside for turn 8. Curiel's not going to give this one up without a fight, though. He sticks to that inside line, moves himself up into, keeps himself in third. Tom Roberts now to the outside, to the inside now through turn 9 and 10. Is he finally going to see his way up into 4th? Yes, he is. He's finally up into that 4th place spot, but Balin trying to fight back into this one. Has been boxed in ever so slightly because there's Igor on his outside line. There's some contact made between the pair, and look at that. Igor Brzezinski to the inside line through turn 12. A slide from Alekis. He's being swallowed up by the field. It was a valiant defense. Unfortunately, Tom Roberts found a chink in the armor and was able to get that move done. He's now looking to try and get onto that podium, and further up, here comes Damien Curiel and Louis Welch, and further back, it's Alekis being overtaken by Vasso.
Yep, down to P8 there for Balint. Of course, looking to try and get back ahead of Stephen Vasso, but I don't think he's going to get that move done. A big shame there for Elakesh, as we do see there, Tom Roberts was looking to make a move ahead of Damien Curiel there, as now we do see Igor Piasecki making a move into P5 goes Igor, and then we have Lucas Basner as well, looking to get ahead of Tom Roberts and jump ahead into P5, and has all that work been done for nothing here for Tom, unless he can try and fight back ahead of Igor? No, he can't. In towards turn 3 they go, and Lucas again on the power, looking to get ahead, but he can't. He's a little bit too far off for now, as we head our way back down towards turn 6 again at the hairpin. And it's still Tim Tornimo in the lead, ahead of Louis Welch and Damien Curiel in third place. Igor Piasecki and Tom Roberts are a top 5 of Ferrari. I know that they don't really care that much about the constructors here, but certainly a P1 and P5 will do them handy in their Constructors' Championship. But we all know the thing they care about the most is that driver's title. And Louis Welch would love to keep that second, or even take a second win of the season, become the first driver to take 2, and try and extend that championship gap even more to Isaac Leeds, who of course isn't here tonight. Certainly looking to lose out heavily here.
Certainly is. Isaac Leeds having to watch from the stands as his championship rival might just be able to extend that lead at the top by 16 points over him. As you can see there, Lucas Basner looking for a move now on Tom Roberts. Oh, that momentum he had on that final lap has just been blown out the window from Tom Roberts, and unfortunately it has not worked in his favour, and he's still stuck behind Igor. But here we are then, the crescendo in China. The final lap begins now, and are we going to see Louis Welch take his second race win of the season, or are we going to see Tornimo and Curiel take their first race wins of this season? You can see everybody just checking up behind, just trying to find a way through at any possible convenience to their charge at the front. But now Tim Tornimo has a lot of work on his hands. He won't have the DRS just yet compared to Louis Welch and Curiel behind. Of course, you can't count out the Aston Martin. He is in the prime position to maybe get a double slipstream down into that hairpin and get the move done. It is all going to be about the run out of turn 12 and down into the hairpin of turn 14. So for Louis, he's just sitting behind the Scarlet Red Ferrari. You can just see it agonisingly close in front. He would want to make that move now. Racer's instinct will want you to make that move at the earliest convenience, but the strategic mind in Louis Welch will know it's all about this straight. Set yourself up right here, Louis, and you can see yourself be the first double winner of the season. This is what it's all boiled down to, and Damien Curiel might have just eliminated him from race-winning chances. A slide out of turn 12. He is the pressure has got to the Aston Martin, but further up, here comes Louis Welch on Tim Tornimo. To the inside line he goes. The Alpine takes the lead, but the Ferrari will try hold this one around the outside, not being able to get it done, and Louis Welch just has to hold his nerve through the final corner, keep it clean, keep it within the white lines. The Alpine driver extends his championship lead. We have our first double winner here in PSGL PCF4. It's Louis Welch who wins from Tim Tornimo, and look at that. 4 wide at the line, and it is Tim Tornimo who comes out on top in second place, Curiel in third, but Louis Welch, the man leading the championship, extends by even more. And what a way to make it 2 wins from 4. He's got a 50% strike rate, but he's our first back-to-back winner of the season, and a well-deserved win for the Alpine man.
Yep, certainly. Just brilliant there by Louis Welch on that final lap. He knew what he had to do, and he did it perfectly. Could have not done that any better, Louis Welch, of course, to take that victory, extend his gap in the championship again. But Tim and Damien, brilliant from those two as well. We'll look at the position change. No, never mind. We won't see it. All I know is that those two started then in the bottom half of the field. They've got themselves onto the podium with a strategic masterclass. Brilliant by Tim and Damien. And Damien there taking our driver of the day. And I think that is certainly well-deserved for the Aston Martin driver. And, of course, we'll shortly see our final grid here for tonight. Was brilliant action here in PCF4 around China. And there we go, Louis Welch is going to have like what, 20, maybe like a 10-point gap in the championship here.
He is going to have, so of course, yeah, I would say about a 10-point gap over, actually no, maybe more, over Damien Curiel. I think it's actually going to be 12 points over Curiel. So a nice healthy buffer. That means if he doesn't score, the person second in the standings next week, which will be Curiel, will have to finish at least second to match him on points. So a nice healthy buffer there for Louis at this stage of the season, of course hitting that halfway point. And with such little rounds to go, he really has given himself a good thing to now try and defend, of course. That win in Brazil, now backed up with a win in China, and certainly could see himself have one hand on the trophy within the next few rounds if he keeps up this form. But don't want to jinx him just yet. And for Tim Tornimo, actually, we could see him maybe win next week. He got third last week, second this week, third maybe next week. But your results quickly are Welch, Tornimo, Curiel, Roberts, Pajewski, Baszler, SD, Alekis, Tom 97, Oliver Knott, Vaso, Moldovan, Neeb, Dakmeyer, Carlos, Finn, and then I didn't see who the last driver was, but yeah, that's the end of your order. But yeah, brilliant drive from Louis Welch, and what a way to extend your championship lead.
Indeed. Well, we have got some interviewees waiting in, so we'll drag them in. There we are. So we'll speak to... Oh, sorry there, Louis. I dragged you in and it killed my Discord. So welcome in, Louis. Great to have you in here. I don't think I've spoken to you in an interview room for a very, very long time. So welcome in. Great to see you back on the top step. And I mean, it was great to have such a good race between yourself and Tom, and then of course yourself and Tim. And to the end, it was kind of easy work, wasn't it, really, to get back up into that top spot?
Strategy, but it helped me out massively having them keep who was it in the end? Was it Ballint and Tom behind on the same tyres as me? So it's been a while since I've been up here, but with the experience of 21 seasons, you know, it's good to be back on the top step after Brazil.
Definitely, you've got to put that experience to use, of course. 2 wins now this season. You've got to have a decent points gap to second place and below. So, of course, with only 5 rounds to go, the rest of the calendar, how's it looking for yourself? Are the tracks decent, or is there some in there that you're not too keen on?
I mean, being on the controller, always going to be over the moon to see, China, Bahrain, Austria. I'm glad. I think the only pad friendly sort of track might be Mexico, but I'm not usually too bad around there. But obviously with Jay finishing, was it like 7th, 8th today, and who else was there? I think Isaac didn't race, so a nice little buffer heading into Austria and the season break after.
Yes, definitely. Well, really good there from yourself, Louis. Congratulations on the win. Anything from you, Max?
Yes, one from me, Louis. Well, of course, you came in a lap later than Damien and Tim. Was you expecting the undercut to be so big? Just with only 1 lap, was you expecting it to be such a huge undercut that they're just right in front of you?
I didn't think who was it? Damien and Tim have rejoined 2nd and 3rd, but I knew they would gain a decent chunk. I thought they'd be like behind Ballint and Jay maybe, but I mean it helped me out massively that it wasn't so powerful. So I'm glad I picked when I did, and I'm glad they picked when they did.
Congratulations on that race victory and your first double winner of the season.
Thank you very much.
Indeed, thank you, Louis. It's been a pleasure to have you in here with us. So, next we'll speak to Tim. You might want to unmute first, Tim. Oh, there we go. So, welcome in. Great to see you back on that podium. You said earlier in the chat that you was going to get a P3 for me, but you made it even better and got 2nd place instead. A really good race from yourself and, of course, Damien, who followed you in that strategy. But did you expect to have such a good undercut there and jump up into, from, what, 12th to 2nd?
No, my plan was just to see what Damien does, and if he boxes, I was boxing, because my teammate Tom Roberts was obviously up there in the lead, and I was expecting to come out like P6, because I know undercut is very powerful, but definitely didn't expect to come out at the front.
Yeah, definitely, and it really worked out well, of course, keeping on to that 2nd and 3rd place all throughout that race, of course. Other people pitting on the lap or 2 later, so you didn't have to worry about those charging through the field behind. Tom possibly could have been a bit of a challenge later on, but of course, by the time he caught up, everyone was at the checkered flag. So a brilliant 2nd place, of course. After finishing 3rd last time out in Belgium due to my brilliant engineering, you're now going to be into like the top 5 in the championship now. So you're hoping that the championship fight's on, or do you think it might be a little bit too late now?
I mean, I'll try my best and see what happens. Obviously, Louis is proving every week that he's a strong competitor, but we'll have to maybe hope for some unlucky incidents or hopefully just mistakes and not anything that he can't control.
Indeed. Well, that's all from me. Congratulations on 2nd. Anything from you, Max?
Yeah, one from me, Tim, of course. What was your feeling heading on to that final lap? Of course, you're leading the way. Was it just, I'm not winning this one, let's just try to get as best of a position as I can and hope it's a podium?
I mean, from the, around lap 24, I just, when I took the lead or whatever lap that was, I already knew then I'm not going to win this race. So what I was thinking is I'd rather get, to the front, so only Louis and maybe Damien can overtake me, than be vulnerable to like Tom Roberts and them charging with new tires. So I think my plan was just to, unironically help Louis win that and just accept defeat.
Yeah, well done. I mean, you did help Louis win it in the best way possible. He did win the Grand Prix, but yeah, congratulations on the 2nd place. And with the rate you're going here, Tim, next week you win the Grand Prix, so no pressure.
Yeah.
Oh, dear me. Well, Tim, thank you for joining us, mate. It's been a pleasure to have you in the commentary box, and hopefully we'll see more of you this season.
Yep.
Have a good one, mate. And finally, we have Damien. Would you like to have a quick chat with Damien, Max?
Yeah, go on then. Damien, hello. Congratulations on your 3rd place. Just what are your thoughts about that Grand Prix? How was that for you?
Thank you. Yeah, pretty hard. I mean, yeah, China is not always the strongest track for me, and practiced hard for it. Quali didn't pay off. Was on a decent lap, but it was just not enough. But yeah, P10, and then I just fought my way back to the front. Luckily, I made a good call with the undercut, and yeah, that just changed my whole race. To be fair, because I was a little bit stuck at the back, like people were fighting really hard. So I had to make a call of like me and my engineer made a call, and it was good. So we went from P10 or P9 to like P1, and yeah, from there just fighting till the end. But my tires were pretty dead, so yeah, I mean, I'm pretty happy with P3.
Yeah, saying about your tyres being dead and off the cliff. We saw the slide out of the long right hander before the back straight. At that point, did you just think, keep Igor behind and make sure we get this P3 home?
Yeah, I was like, the fun part, I was like, before the corner, I was like, don't screw it up. And that's like the point which you don't want to have, because then you screw it up. Yeah, so yeah, I screwed it up, and I was like, alright, I have to keep in mind now. And I was like, maybe I'm a little bit lucky with Lewis and Tim fighting in front. But I was just making sure I at least finish on the podium, just to maximize the points at least. And yeah, that's what I did. Like, close finish for P2 with Tim, but he won off, like he finished P2 and is deserved. So.
Yeah, drag race to the line from yourself and Tim, but you now move up to second place in the standings from that one. You think the championship's possible, or do you think, like Tim, Louis just a little bit too strong?
Yeah, I mean, he's doing a good job, but I believe if you work hard for things, you can achieve it. So I'm gonna try my best, of course. And yeah, we will see what's gonna happen in the next upcoming races.
Certainly shall. Of course, congratulations on that third place. And any questions from you, Nathan?
No questions from me, of course. A brilliant job, Damien. Congratulations on the podium, and hopefully we'll see more of you as the season goes on.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Have a good one, guys. Thank you all for joining for an interview. It's been a pleasure to have you in here. But there we go, Max. The ending of the stream has came. Let's just put ourselves on the screen. There we go. Brilliant race. Really good action here tonight. Of course, it's actually quite a shame that I'm not here for the remainder of the season, because it looks like it's really heating up to be a very competitive end. And of course, with the racing we've had today, personally can't wait to see what Austria can bring next week. That will certainly create some chaos. But how do you think that race up, Max, in your opinion?
Oh, it was a brilliant race. Arguably the best of the season so far, from what I've been here for. Just carnage throughout, and just brilliant racing. Everybody was very aggressive, but they were very fair. And that's what you like to see in these types of races. It's hard but fair racing, and that's certainly what the drivers put on offer today. And you didn't really have any dull moment in that Grand Prix. It was constant chaos, constant overtakes, and yeah, a brilliant race from the drivers here this evening. And hopefully we see the same in Austria, where arguably there's even more overtaking opportunities and more chances of chaos around there.
Yes, there certainly will be. Will be a very exciting race next week. Of course, a big thank you to everybody in the chat for tuning in along today. A very good race here around China. Of course, we go to round 5 Austria next Thursday, so make sure to be back at the same time at 8 PM. Of course, F2, 3 and 5 will be running as per usual as well, and hopefully, is it Method was there for you, Max?
Yes.